let's go ahead and get started. We are doing 45-ish minutes of live side splits stretching, and we do this every day to practice consistency, to build some consistency, to build some community, and to make stretching a little bit more fun, a little less suffering, and hopefully make a bunch of progress towards our side split goals. All right, that's what we do, and now that I've given the spiel, I think it's time to get started. Hip cars is how we're starting our first warm-up exercise, and it looks like this. We'll bring the knee up as high as possible. We're opening up that hip, sending that knee directly to the left or right, depending on which leg you're doing first. Then we're going to rotate the leg, bring the ankle up as high as possible. Try to get it even higher than the knee. Whew. And then bring the leg down and back. Flex the hamstrings, flex the glutes, pull the knee back behind the standing knee, and that's one rep. We're going to do 10 of these. Let's go. High knee, open, ankle, down. High knee, open, ankle, down. It's 2. These are all about getting a little bit stronger while you're trying to force your leg to get into positions that you're not necessarily that strong at. That's 6, 7, 8, 9, and last one, 10. Whew. All right, shake out that leg, give it a light massage. If you can hear the pounding on my hip, then maybe it doesn't sound like a light massage, and I give you permission to beat up the hip muscles too. Cool? All right. Ooh. That's the left side. Let's go ahead and keep going with the right side. High knee. Open that up. Ankle up. Down and back. High knee. Open it up directly to the side. Keep the knee high. Rotate that leg. Get the ankle as high as possible. Down and back. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, last one, 10. All right. I always forget when I start counting if the count is like if I say 1 before I start the move or if I say 1 after I finish the move. So I'm just gonna do one more for 10. Okay, cool. 10. We just did hip cars going forward, and let's do hip cars going back. Same move, just in reverse order. Cool? Back, flex the hamstrings, flex the glutes, bring the knee behind the standing leg, lift directly to the side, try to lift that ankle up even higher, rotate the leg down so the ankle is down, and then bring the knee all the way to the front. Those are the 4 positions. Let's go. We're going for 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 and a half. Okay, whew. That's one side. We got one more side to go. Whew. Do a little dance, shake out those hips. Your hips are working. Even the leg that's just standing there is trying to keep you balanced while you do all this crazy stuff with your legs. So maybe you're feeling a little bit of pressure, a little bit of contraction here in the hip. And then this leg, obviously, it's spinning around, going all over the place. And it can get some extra love as well. All right, shake it out. Let's do the final leg. Let's go back, side, ankle, knee. Ooh, okay. There's the first hip crack on the right side for today. Second one feels good. But I got so thrown off by the first crack, I can't balance anymore. So I'm going to hold on to the wall for support. I recommend you do the same if you are struggling a little bit with balance. It lets you focus on contracting the muscles in the hip instead of trying to figure out how to keep upright. We are at 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. Balance is back. 8, 9. Last one. 10. And I forgot when I started to count. So 10, 11. Maybe 10. Oh, okay, hip cars are done. Celebrate with a little bit of shaking out. Flop it around. Loosen up everything. My back is feeling a little bit stiff today, so let's do some cat cows. Just introduce a little bit of motion. If you have done some yoga and some Pilates before, then this will be easy for you. But if you have never done this before, try to keep your hands beneath your shoulders, your knees below your hips. If you have different length bones, the shape you make might be a little bit different from mine. Maybe your butt will be higher up. I got short legs, and my arms, I guess, are relatively long compared to my legs. Anyways, from here, I want you to try to push almost your belly button down into the ground. I want you to almost look up and try to create this curve in the back. And then I want you to do the opposite. I want you to really round the back, really round the shoulders, sort of push your shoulder blades down and out and curve. It's like the ultimate slouch. And let's do the whole thing again. Up and down. Take these nice and slow. Treat it like a big stretch. Oh, man. I'm just going to do 5. 5 really nice and full ones. Remember to breathe. I talk a lot, so my breathing is a little bit weird. But you don't have to talk, so focus on breathing. I said we'd do 5. I'm pretty sure we've done like 7. So I hope you enjoyed that little tiny bit of cat cow, and maybe your back is moving a little bit better, because we're going to move on to warm-up exercise number 2. And yeah, that's it. We got a little bit of back twisting too in that, so maybe that will finish off the back. Okay. Whew, elephant walks. Stretch number 2. Looks a little bit like this. It's basically a hamstring stretch, but I want you to focus mostly on what your belly button is doing. The belly button is at the top of the hips. So when you bring it down, your hips are going forward, right? And they're folding. That's basically the only thing we care about. When that happens, when your belly button is coming forward, your hamstrings are going to tighten up because they're going whoosh and getting pulled. As long as you are feeling that stretch in the hamstring, then you're doing it right. It doesn't matter if you're at this angle or at this angle. As long as your hamstrings are firing and they're tight, you're where we want to be. Cool? Okay, from here, now that you've hung out here for a little bit, take a big breath. Inhale, exhale, and release. And see if you can bring the belly button a little bit deeper into the stretch. You might feel that you can almost feel the stretch coming out of your glutes instead of just your hamstrings, and that is totally fine. That is good. That is okay. From here, we're going to start bending one knee at a time, and we want you to really feel the muscles in your leg shifting from place to place as you move. Because this will loosen up everything. This will help to get each of the muscles awake and working. Oh, and if you're confused about the muscles, what am I talking about? The hamstring has 3 muscles. One of them is a bicep, and you might know that the word bi means 2, and so the bicep has 2 segments of it, and that means there's really 4 ropes of muscle in your leg, and we call those the hamstring, but 2 of them have the same name. They're the biceps. So Oh, we're stretching them out, we're forcing them to work, and we are trying to get to the point in the warm up where suddenly things start feeling a little bit smoother, things start feeling a little bit easier, and you struggle a little bit less. Hopefully, my filling the time with explanations about muscles has made it a little bit more bearable because this is not a super comfortable process. And maybe you're feeling like, oh yeah, I can get a little bit deeper now. Once you feel like you're ready to move on, let's go ahead and add some thoracic rotation. So this is the last little bit for our backs, and then we're gonna get right back into some leg work. All right. From here, we're getting back into the same exact position. I'm facing you now, so I can show you the rotation a little bit more clearly. We're bending one knee, straighten out the other. We're taking the, sorry, I'll be very specific. I'm bending the left knee. My right leg is straight. My left arm is pushing on the outside of my right leg to help rotate the chest and to help me look backwards and behind me where I am sticking that right arm. All right? And then come back down to center. Do it again on the other side. Right knee is bent, left leg is straight, right hand is pushing on the outside of the left leg, chest is rotating to the left, left arm is going up into the air and behind me. My head is looking at those fingertips and come back down. You can do this nice and slow. Work on stretching and reaching behind you. Get that thoracic rotation, which is basically fancy for your upper back. The upper third of your back is rotating. Oh. And I'm pretty sure I forgot to say this, but let's just do 5 or so reps. You can take them nice and slow. And remember to breathe, especially when you're at your most stressed and tight position all the way up at the top. Whew. Okay, that is our second warm-up exercise. And if you're having fun, if you're doing moves that you probably need to do, feeling a little bit better already because we worked on the spine, worked on the hamstrings, probably the two most heavily messed up muscle groups in the normal population of the world, then I hope you'll consider hitting follow, hit subscribe, because we do this every single day to practice consistency, to make it a little bit easier to do, the pain in the butt, hard stuff that you don't want to do. And we do it together so we can build a little bit of community, have a whole bunch of other people who are interested in trying to keep their body working good so that we can all make some progress towards our side split goals together. All right, that's the goal. Keep coming back, keep practicing consistency, hit follow, hit subscribe, do all those good things because we do this every day at 9 p.m. Eastern. Okay, that's the spiel. Let's get back into some exercises. We're ready to move on. So the third and final warm-up exercise, and we say warm-up exercises because I imagine you come in cold after a day's work, maybe haven't had dinner or something, and you haven't really moved in a while. So the goal of the warm-up exercises are to get your body moving again. It's not to necessarily prepare you for even harder workouts. This is the workout. All right. Everything else is a nice stretch after, and so this is gonna be hard. Let's go. The Cossack switch, the third and final warm-up exercise, looks a little bit like this. We're gonna open up our hips. We're gonna try our best to drop down to one side. What's happening here is your knees are traveling in the same direction that your toes are pointing. Okay. I want it to go like that. I don't want your knees to collapse inwards. I don't want them to go outwards. I want them right over the toes. Cool? From here and off to the side, you don't have to do the exact angles that I'm doing. You can figure out what's comfortable and what's good for you. I show the side of the leg a lot so that you know what it looks like and what I'm trying to point out. All right? From here, the Achilles tendon, the calves, are getting a nice stretch because my knees are over my toes, right? This is over the toes, and this is way over the toes. There's pressure in the front of the ankle, and there's pressure in the hip. I just want you to get used to that pressure. So hang out, in this position for a little bit. If your heels come up a little bit, that's okay. But if they're coming up a lot because your knee is way far forward and you don't have the ankle flexibility to get into that position, try your best to come out of it a little bit. It's a little bit challenging because your quad muscles are going to start firing really hard when you are not relaxing on top of the leg. Okay? But take breaks, relax, and try your best. All right, so we're in this deep position. We're trying our best to chill out here. And this leg, this lovely leg over here, is basically doing the side split. If you have no idea, we are training for the side splits. I don't think I said that outright for the last couple of CTAs. But we're training for the side splits. And this leg right here is in perfect position for doing a side split. Right now, the heel is down, the toes are up, and the knees are up. This is called external rotation leg, because this is neutral, right, where the feet are down. And then this is external rotation because we're rotating to the outside. What that means is our thigh bone has shifted and rotated out of the way of the hip bone. It's going to let us open up our legs and get into a side split stretch. For most people, if you don't rotate, you're going to smash bone on bone, and it's going to be a really unhappy time. So externally rotate. All right, let's scoot over and get to the other side so we can do the same thing and give it some time. We're stretching out the Achilles, the calves, feeling some pressure on the ankle, feeling some pressure on the hip. We're trying to rest in this position for a little bit to get our hips ready for some Cossack switches. This leg, of course, is doing heels down, toes up, knees up. Try your best to get into this position. If you're really struggling, you can keep your legs neutral. You can hang out here. All right? But when you can sink a little bit deeper, try your best to get into that position. Cool? All right. Let's give a couple of seconds on this side to have the body get used to this deep position, this gentle stretch, if you will. And then we're going to start switching from side to side. You don't have to start right now. You can take a couple more seconds, but I'm going to demonstrate. We're going to start by putting our hands down. Whew, my ankle just cracked. Put our hands down, so we're putting a lot of the body weight and the balancing work into the hands instead of using our legs and hips to do all of the work, and go from side to side. We're going to do a total of 10 of these, and you can start right now if you want to start with that workout or that specific exercise. When you're ready to take it up to a higher difficulty, you can remove your hands and still lean really far forward while you try to go from side to side. All right, we're doing this exact motion that we've been talking about, having the knees travel over the toes, sinking into it. Your heels can come off the ground a little bit, and we are getting that leg rotated so that there is a nice side split like stretch. And this is level 2. I've done 2 of these. I don't know if I've already told you how many I want you to do. Something like 10. And then when you're ready to take this up to another level, these are too easy for you, you monster. Extend the spine, try to straighten up. You might struggle with balance a little bit, so stick your hands out in front of you. And now we have level 3 of the Cossack switch. This requires a little bit more coordination with your low back muscles, trying to keep your spine upright, and you're still working all those hip and leg muscles. I have absolutely no idea how many of these I've done, but the goal of the warm-up is to have you suddenly feel like, oh man, the warm-up worked. I'm moving a lot smoother than I was before. If that is what is happening, then great. And I forgot to say this earlier, so I feel a little bit bad. But if your knees are achy and you're struggling with the transition in between 2 spots, you can come up into a full squat and then slowly come down onto one side, instead of sort of keeping low and having your hips and your knees move around in that range of motion. Whew. Okay, I think we're done with the warm-up exercises. I'm out of breath, probably because I talked a lot, but go ahead, take a sip of water, grab a drink, and we will talk about what's coming up next, because we need a break. Ganowski says, glad you're back, Travelers, Rexy. Yeah, look at that. Community, I know, it's real. We got a whole bunch of people following, lovely. Welcome, Big Fish. Welcome, Cindy Lou. I'm scrolling to the top of the chat real quick. This is the first time I've come back to the camera, I think. Double check if I missed anything fun. Princess MF Jazzy 69 says, "This is dope. Thanks for doing this." Of course, that's the goal, is to keep people excited, keep people happy about stretching, about taking care of their body as much as I can. You know, you still have to physically suffer, but I can try to emotionally reduce the burden a little bit. Travel Orthodoxy says, "Ooh, I'm late, but ready to do this." Yes, thank you for the enthusiasm. Okay, I'm scrolling. Don't. Oh, the cat cow is new today. Yes, Gayeta. My back was feeling a little bit stiff just now, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna take care of myself, and I imagine everybody benefits a little bit from cat cow. We didn't do that much, but it was good. Lulu, welcome back. Joni, oh, welcome back, Joni. I think this is your second day, right? Gatos loco. Oh, crazy cats. Yeah. All right, I'm just going to the bottom of the chat. We are moving on to more stretches. Let's see. We got a question. What am I drinking? I just read. I'm having coffee. I am traveling, so I'm on the other side of the world. I assume you're in the U.S. And it's my morning, so my morning coffee is right here. I drink it black, as you can, I guess. Oh, it kind of looks like Coke. In real life, this looks a little brown. In the camera, it looks straight black. Okay. That was my first sip. I came over to drink water, but I got distracted by the chat. Oh man, YouTube's got a whole bunch of people on. Park Jimin, maybe. Super excited to say that he was the second person on the live today. Thank you, Park. I appreciate you. And asked if I play Roblox. I do not. Got another question. I think it was a joke. Asked if I'm a Tai Chi master. You know, if I was a master of anything, that would be sick. I just appreciate the idea that I'm good at something, but no, that's not what I do. So, okay, with that, let's go into some hamstring stretches. Go ahead and grab a cushion, pad your knee a little bit, and let's get into the hamstring stretch. I had a couple of comments. People who are intermittent fasting, drinking black coffee, people who don't drink coffee at all. And I understand. My girlfriend almost never drinks coffee, only when we are in a dire situation after like a red-eye flight and we have like 12 more hours before we can check into the Airbnb. Then she'll have some, because otherwise the rest of the day will be absolutely miserable. But it's not like it actually gets much better with coffee. We just mentally think that it's going to get much better with coffee. Okay, hamstring stretch. Let's get into it. Pointing the hips forward. We're pointing the chest forward, pointing the head forward. Everything is pointing in one direction, forward. We're sticking the leg we want to stretch directly out in front of us. Then tuck that hip in. From the side, it's going to look a little bit like this. We do not want to do a full-on side split or a front split looking stretch. We want to pull that hip in, pull the leg into the hip so that we can really focus on the hamstring stretch, okay? We're gonna, and once again, it's all about the belly button. We're gonna bring the belly button down towards that leg, start folding forward. The hamstrings are gonna tighten up, and we're gonna take a big breath in. Hold, slow exhale, and try to get deeper. Take a couple of normal breaths. And let's do it again. Inhale. Exhale. Good old hamstring stretch. Now that we are here, we're ready. Let's go. We're going to hold this for 30 seconds. Try to keep your back relatively straight. If you are curled up really intensely, trying to keep your head down, don't try that hard. You can relax your upper back. Your upper back isn't contributing that much to this stretch. So don't round like crazy and focus on your belly button. Bring the belly button as the closest point to your leg. Cool? All right, 30 seconds. 30, 29, 28, 27. With these 30 seconds, you can do a variety of things. You can just keep holding the tension and trying to apply pressure from your belly button to bring it down to the leg. You can do a couple of these little micro pulses just to shake your way into a slightly deeper stretch. Ooh. And if your knees are starting to get a little achy, you can bend the knee slightly and do all the same things. You might notice that with your knees slightly bent, you can actually bring your belly button much closer to the thigh. Your chest might be coming down to the thigh. And that is because when you bend the knee, you reduce the stretch a little bit. And that lets you fold forward. But if you bring your chest all the way down and then you try to extend your leg straight again, you'll be feeling the full unhappiness of that hamstring. Okay, I think we've held this for 30 seconds. Let's call it in 3, 2, 1, 0. Oh, come back up into standing. One of the benefits of this position is your hands are always able to catch you or push off the floor to help you up. So go ahead and use that benefit. Ooh, all right, come back into standing. Shake out the leg real quick. Shake out both legs real quick. Shake out everything. Enjoy. Enjoy the stretch. And then let's come around and do the other side. I just stretched out my right leg, so now I'm stretching out my left leg. When I switch over, somehow I always get confused. Even though there's a sensation in my leg from when I just stretched, I somehow can blank out and be like, how do I get back into position? What is next? All right, pull that hip into the hip socket. Fold the belly button down. Feel the hamstring stretch building. Inhale. Exhale. Fold. Try to get deeper into that stretch. Whew. Take a couple of normal breaths so you don't hyperventilate. And one more. Inhale. Exhale. When you're exhaling, try to bring the belly button down closer to the thigh. If the knee is achy, bend it. Oh, and you're ready. Let's go. 30 seconds. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Oh, okay, come on up. Out of that stretch. Oh, shake out the leg. Shake, 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 shake. Relax. And you can get rid of the cushion. We don't need it anymore. Whew. That is the first of our 5 stretches. We're going to do 4 more. Most of them are going to be like this. They're just going to be 30-second holds until we get to the side split. The side split is actually 3 rounds of 30 seconds. And in between each of the rounds, we're going to do a little bit of talking. Not because we need to talk, but I'm just trying to distract you while we give our bodies a chance to relax and prepare ourselves for the next round. Whew, okay. We're going to move on into stretch number 2. It is called the butterfly stretch. And in general, it looks a little bit like this. We're going to sit down, bring our feet together, and try to bring our knees down to the ground. The goal is to open up the muscles here in the groin, and it is a little bit difficult to focus on, especially if you have a little bit less flexibility in your hamstrings and you're starting to feel like you're falling backwards. All right, so we're going to become best friends with the wall behind us, and you can use basically any really sturdy flat surface for this. If you have a door, you can probably use that as long as your door won't collapse in on itself. You can use a bookcase, you can use a dresser, as long as it feels really heavy and sturdy. All right, now pull that feet, pull those feet in towards your hips. Try to get your back nice and straight against the wall, so your hips are touching, your shoulders are touching, your head is, my head is now touching the wall. You have this nice straight posture. You get reminded what standing up straight kind of is supposed to feel like. Crazy. And from here, I want you to start using your muscles. It's going to be a little bit confusing at first because you're not sure which muscles you're using. But I want you to try your best to use the outside of your thighs and your glutes to help open up the legs. Try to bring the knees down into the ground. You can give yourself a couple little pushes as you figure out what muscles you're using. And once you're as open as you can get using your own muscle power, we're doing the strength work in our stretching. We're going to take our hands and push down and apply bonus pressure. While you do this, you're going to feel pressure in your shoulders and the back of your head from the wall. And that's basically the wall keeping you stable and in position and letting you push into your legs. If you try to do this while seated without the wall, you'll probably just fall backwards. So you don't have to try that. Just believe me. Cool. We're holding this for 30 seconds. Remember, we're contracting the muscles, we're breathing, and we're pushing into the legs. Let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. If you stopped flexing, remember, we're contracting some muscles. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, let the legs go. Remove your hands first. Your legs might feel like they're a little bit stuck. Almost like you forgot how to use them. Go ahead and lift your knee and give it a little bit of movement. This happens when you contract that muscle really hard for a long time. All the other muscles fall asleep, and then the one muscle that was working really hard just can't figure out how to not work. So give a little bit of movement, and your legs should get back to normal. Okay. Oh, that is stretch number 2, nice and fast, right? We're going to get into stretch number 3, equally fast, but a lot more painful. The third stretch is the standing pancake. And in general, it looks a little bit like this. We're opening up our legs decently wide. It doesn't have to be crazy. You don't have to be super low. We just want them slightly open. Then we're folding at the hips, and we're bringing our belly button down towards the ground. That's it. That is the starting position of the pancake. As you can see, my legs up into my back is like a 90-degree angle. So if I were seated on the ground like this, it'd be really hard for me to apply much pressure going forward and actually folding my belly button down towards my legs. That is why we do the standing variation. It is because when we do it this way, gravity is pulling on our entire upper body and trying to bring us down. And in this case, we want that. That is exactly how we're going to make progress. So once you get into this rough position, I want you to imagine the bottom of your butt. You know, the bony part when you sit down, and or like if you sit too fast, kind of smashes into the ground and you're like, that part, the sits bones. I want you to imagine pointing them up into the sky, and I want you to bring the belly button down real low into the ground, or at least imagine that that's the goal, because that is the goal. We want the pelvis to tilt forward, and we want to bring the rest of our body along with that pelvis. Cool. You can grab your legs and you can pull on them to give yourself some external support with your arms. You can extend your arms and let gravity do all the work and fold forward. Pick your poison. I'm going to grab my leg today. So let's go. 30 seconds. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25. Remember, this is all happening at the hips. We're trying to bring the belly button down. Ignore what your head is doing. Ignore what your chest is doing. Focus on pointing the sits bones up into the sky behind you and bring that belly button really low to the ground. We've been doing this for a couple of seconds. I forgot to start counting. 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. Put your hands down in front of you. Slowly come out of that stretch. if you were pulling real hard and trying real hard to fold for the last 30 seconds, it would be same as the butterfly stretch. Some of your muscles would be like, wait, how are we supposed to work? What's normal again? So take your time, shake it out, get loose, do a little dance. And that is the standing pancake stretch. Whew. If you are feeling it right now, deep in your hamstrings, maybe up into the insertion point of the glute, which is basically where the glute muscle attaches to your muscles or to your skeleton, then you're probably doing it right. It's a really intense stretch, and we just did a lot of hamstring work, partially because we needed to prepare for the intense standing pancake that we just did, but also, um, you know, dumb hamstrings. They're just a pain in the butt, and they need some love. Okay. Oh, we got an invite to co-host some show, and I have just rejected. Okay. That was the third of our 5 stretches. I'm going to come back, check the chat real quick, and see if there's anything I need to address while we go. Hugh, Ken, I think that was a full 30 for sure. Yeah, I bet it was. Junie is trying to try some stretches on the bed because it's soft and fluffy and it feels better than suffering on the hard, cold floor when your legs are already intense. Okay. Over on YouTube, we got a lot of people saying hi to each other. That's very lovely. 223DMR7, welcome back. I really just wanted to drink some water, but now I've made an absolute mess. Okay. Moving on. The 4th stretch that we're going to do is the figure 4 stretch or the pigeon stretch. The goal is to just cross the leg over to the other side of the body and fold forward. So in a pigeon, you're basically on the ground doing this. And in a figure 4, you're laying on your back and you're still doing this. The goal is to feel the stretch out here in the outer hip in the side of the glute. And yesterday, I'm pretty sure we did... Oh, shoot. What do we do? I think we did figure 4 yesterday, so let's do pigeon today. In the pigeon stretch, where are my blocks? I lost my blocks. There's the blocks. In the pigeon stretch, the goal is to take this leg, put it out in front of you across the body, and try to get your midpoint of the leg in between the knee and the ankle to sort of line up with the midpoint of your chest. All right. So we don't really want this. We don't want too much of that necessarily either. Just try to keep everything in a nice centered line. It doesn't have to be actually perfect. Those are just general guidelines. I want you to try your best to keep this ankle sort of at a 90 degree or perpendicular to your body. Push it away if you need to. It's going to want to magically shift in towards your groin to make the stretch easier, and we don't want that. If you have a lot less flexibility and you need to come in, have it be at not a 90 degree angle, that's absolutely okay. But once you've set the ankle and the angle, then I want you to try your best to keep it in the same spot for the duration of the stretch. Or at least when it moves, you're moving it intentionally, not letting it just slip around. Cool? Whew. All right, so that's the forward leg. The goal here is to keep your hips really low to the ground and fold forward. This is all about the belly button once again, but because the leg is all rotated, we're going to feel the stretch out here in the side instead of in our hamstrings. This back leg over here, if you have watched some yoga videos, done some yoga, you know that we often want to stick that leg straight behind us and feel that stretch in the hip flexor in the front. For the sake of our stretch, it's not super important. If you cannot straighten your leg, that is totally fine. You can bring this leg, keep it bent right here behind you, because we're stretching out the other hip, right? So it doesn't matter really what this leg is doing. If you can get into a pigeon pose with the leg behind you, then great, go ahead and do it. But if you can't, this will do just fine for our knees. All right. And if you want, you can use something different than blocks. I just happen to have blocks that are lightweight and easy to use. You can do the pigeon on something slightly elevated, as long as it's more or less stable. All right, this is not stable, so don't necessarily copy this. But if you do the pigeon on something slightly elevated, there's a little bit less of an angle that you have to keep in order to have this leg behind you. So if you want, you can elevate the front leg, and that will help the back leg get into the stretch. Okay? Oh, otherwise, I want to point out that this bag leg, doing this bag leg thing, is basically the same as you lying down and pulling your leg in, right? Like we're just rotating and flopping this position. Hold on. I'm trying to flop over. Boom. There we go. All we did was turn it around and it's the pigeon stretch, right? So you don't need to have a crazy amount of this flexibility. You just need enough to basically lay flat to get this leg behind you. All right. So that's a couple of ways to get into it. Give that a try. And we're going to get into position and do our 30 seconds. Let's go. I'm going to face this way. Make sure the leg is perpendicular to the body. Push that ankle. Keep it in a locked in position. Keep it from slipping around. Bring the hips low to the ground. Fold your belly button down. Feel the stretch in the hips. Oh, okay. 30 seconds. Let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14. Remember to breathe. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Oh, okay. Come on out of it. Moving on to the other side. Spin it around. Same thing. You might notice, however, that one leg is more flexible than the other. One hip is more flexible than the other. That is totally normal. Get ready. Let's go. Keep the hips low. Keep your ankle from sliding inwards and making the stretch easier. Fold your belly button down. Breathe. And 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. One of the things to note about the pigeon stretch is a lot of the time, especially if you don't want to put your face on the floor because you feel like the floor is a little bit dirty, you're going to be flexing a whole bunch of muscles sort of in your butt, in your low back to keep your torso up a little bit higher. And that's counter sort of to the stretch a little bit. And so I want you to experiment with trying to relax those muscles. It's one of those things where you won't even know that you're flexing or you're trying really hard to keep your face from touching the ground until I call out the reason why you're doing this. Because you're like, oh, you're right. If I go and leave my face on the ground, all these muscles in my back stop firing. So, tomorrow when you come back, if you notice maybe that you've been flexing all these muscles in your low back, in your butt, maybe keep the floor clean and just the spot so you can put your head down into it and see if there's a slightly different stretch. If you like it more, if you're feeling more relaxed, I don't know. Try it out. Okay, that is the figure 4/pigeon stretch. If you have a favorite, you can feel free to do whichever one that you want during our stretches. I explain both, and I try to explain one on every other day so that we cover both and you got options. All right, it's time. We're basically done with all the stretches that we do to warm up the hips to get them ready for the side splits. We're getting into the side splits. If you need to do anything else to smoothen out some movement to feel a little bit better, if you want to do some arm floppy twisty things to get your shoulders and your spine a little bit more loose, by all means do that. I'm going to talk about safety while you do that. And on the topic of safety, try not to do these exercises with a whole bunch of pointy metal things sticking out of the door to hit your elbow on. Ah, man. Okay. Safety. When we were doing the side splits, if you start falling forwards, it's easy enough to catch yourself with your hands for the most part. But if you start falling backwards, it's going to be really scary. So, what I recommend is you get really close to the wall. The wall is your best friend, helps you stay balanced, and it will keep you safe here. So, what we're doing is making sure we're close enough so that if we start falling, we're like, oh no! And we do fall backwards. The wall is close enough that it was just a little love tap. Right? Maybe your shoulder will hit, maybe your back will hit, maybe your butt will hit. That's the most fleshy part that, absorb the impact. So preferably your butt smashes into the ground instead of your shoulder. But try your best to keep your head from being the thing that hits first. So, if you're falling backwards, tuck your head a little bit, put your chin to your neck. And hopefully that'll keep you safe and I'll keep you a little bit comfortable. Ooh. From here, we're going to actually get into side splits. I recommend distance wise, you're about 8 to 12 inches away from the wall. Okay? That is about one step in front of the wall. Whew. Okay. Now we're actually doing side splits. So I hope you're ready. Let's go, let's go, let's go. We're opening up the legs nice and wide. When it feels uncomfortable in the hips, I want you to fold forward and I want you to put your hands down. I want you to be able to do almost like a mini push up here. And this just proves that you have shifted some of the weight out of your legs and into your hands. We want to do this because we're going to externally rotate the legs. What that means is your heels are down, your toes are up, and your knees are pointing up. Okay, heels down, toes up, knees up on both sides. And the reason why we do this is to make sure our leg bone does not smash into the hip bone. And when we rotate it, it really, really helps to not do that. So once we're in that position, I want you to just do a little tiny bit of a wiggle, see if you can already drop down into a deeper split. I want you to walk your hands back towards your hips. Maybe your butt is touching the wall already, and that is it. Okay. We are basically in the side split position right now. From here, I want you to do one last wiggle from side to side, see if just a little bit of friction on your feet is holding you back. And then we're going to start at 30 seconds. Let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. We're almost done. 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, crawl your hands forward. Slowly pull the legs in. Kneel for a second if you need to. And breathe. Okay. When you've caught your breath, once you've kind of recovered, slowly come back into standing. Flop around if you need to. Okay, and we're gonna start recovery. Let's go. We are shaking out the legs. What the legs just experienced was incredible amounts of tension, trying to keep it from getting into a deeper stretched position. All the muscles were tight and maybe they were even cramping depending on how much you've used your leg muscles. And what we want to do is shake it out. We want to release all that tension. We want to be loose and floppy and look like noodles fresh out of the pot. All right. So if you are struggling with this idea of wiggling and flopping, imagine you're trying to flick water off of your leg after a shower. You're like, ooh, get that dirty floor water off my toes. And we want to just keep doing that for 5, 10, 15 seconds. The more intense the contraction before, the longer we want to spend flicking the legs off. But if your legs are feeling tired and they're still feeling tired, you can just keep flicking. Shake, 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 wiggle, 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 wiggle. Whew. As your legs start feeling a little bit better, they start feeling more normal again, I want you to focus a little bit on the hip. So I want you to rotate your knee inwards and your knee outwards just for a couple of seconds to get that set of muscles a little bit looser. Because when we flick, it tends to happen mostly at the front and back axis and not from the side to side. Whew. So do a couple of those. Give that hip some love. All right. Once we've done all those things, this bottom half of your body is starting to relax a little bit, getting more comfortable and loose after suffering in the side splits. Let's do a couple of joint checks to make sure everything is working good, and then we'll get right back into round 2 of the side splits. So joint checks look a little bit like this. We're doing hip circles, high knees. You don't have to do very many. You're just testing to see if anything feels weird. I'm going to pop into a mini squat, put some pressure on those knees, put some pressure in the ankles, put some pressure on the toes, come up onto a calf raise, do 1 or 2 of these to make sure all the bones and weird muscles in your feet, your legs are working. And then we'll be ready to go back into round 2 of the side splits. So once again, get real close to that wall. It is your best friend. It'll help keep you safe. It'll support you. It'll keep you stable. It's just awesome. From here, we are getting into that deep side split position. I want you to try your best to not feel any pain at the hips and fold forward when you do feel discomfort. When your hands are down, try to do a little mini push-up, and that will prove that there's a whole bunch of weight in your hands and your arms so that it's easier to externally rotate the legs. I don't know what just happened. Maybe the floor is dusty, but I sadly need to sneeze really bad. Okay, cool, we're good. An explosive sneeze in this position might hurt, so didn't want to let that one out. Okay, from here, we're externally rotating. My heels are down, my toes are up, and my knees are pointing up. Again, these are good for moving your leg bones out of the way of the thigh bones when we do the side split. Walk your hands back towards your hips. Now that weight that we put out there in front of us to make the rotation easier, we're bringing it right back into our hips, and the stretch is going to get more intense. Whew. From here, the last thing we're going to do is do a little wiggle from side to side to see if we can break that friction, holding our feet back from a deeper side split stretch. And that's it. Let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. Remember to breathe. Don't hold your breath. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right. Walk those hands forward. Bring the knees in. Kneel for a second. Take some time to breathe. And when you're ready, come back up into standing and let's start the shakes. Whoa. Shake, shake, shake. Flick that water off your arms and your legs. I don't know what sound effect I can use at this point. I've used so many different sounds. Shake, 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 shake. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Flop, 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 flop. We're loosening up all those muscles in the leg. And when it is all floppy and loose, there's no way your muscles can be super tense. If they were super tense, you'd be like a robot, right? So once you've done a couple of those, your legs are feeling a little bit better. You can pick up the intensity if you'd like. And I want you to try this time to add a little bit of a wiggle from side to side, like that. It's gonna be a little bit hard. It's kind of like a weird set of muscles to use for the first time if it's your first time trying to figure out how to rotate the leg in and out that way. That's sort of why we started with in and out like this. And then you can sort of get that to loosen up from side to side. If you can't figure out today, can't figure out right now, that's okay. You can take your time. We do this every day, so you know you got time. And add that into the shake, the wiggle, the flop, whatever you want to call this. Once you have tried that a little bit, and if you have succeeded at doing the side-to-side wiggle, the side-to-side noodle, then great. If you haven't really succeeded at that, that's okay. you can very intentionally do some leg and hip rotations like this to do the exact same thing that I was trying to get you to do. Cool. All right. Ugh. That is loosening up the legs. We want to take extra time here because we're going into round 3 of our side splits, and we want our legs to be as relaxed as possible going into the next round so we can get the best results, right? That's why I'm running out of words to fill this empty space with, and I guess we're just gonna have to move on into some hip circles and some checks. Let's do some hip circles. These are just the joint checks that we do real quick to make sure everything is moving smoothly without pain. We're gonna do some high knees. That's good. Mini squats. Ooh, I got something going on in my left ankle a little bit. So I'm going to focus on that for a second and do some ankle rotations. It is totally possible that I was just way too aggressively flicking out my foot during the loosey ramen noodle shaky wiggly stuff. And now everything feels good. All right. Put some pressure in the knees, put some pressure in the ankles, make sure that they're able to take pressure without feeling weird and uncomfortable or painful. And let's do some calf raises to make sure our toes and our ankles are good. That is it for checking out the joints. So now we are ready to get into the third and final round of side splits. I'm coming up to the camera because TikTok is telling me I need to do a quick identity check and I have to solve this puzzle piece thing. There we go. Boom. Okay. Let's go. Third round, final round, side splits. Get close to that wall for some support. Open up the legs nice and wide. Fold at the hips. Put your hands down. Do that mini push-up so that you're taking away weight from your legs so it's easier to externally rotate. Your knees are up, your toes are up, your heels are down. Knees are up, toes are up, heels are down on both sides. And since this is the third round, we've warmed up quite a bit by doing 2 more rounds before this. You might be able to just wiggle a tiny bit and slide from side to side and get into a much deeper position immediately. You can walk your hands back. And we'll do one last final bit of wiggling to break the friction on our feet. And that's it. Third and final round. Let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, we're done. Walk those hands forward. Bring the legs in. Take it nice and slow. Oh, kneel here for a little bit. Breathe. When you're ready, come back into standing. Ooh. Grunt as much as you need to. Make as many sound effects as you want. It's okay. I give you permission. Shake out the legs. Flick off that water from your feet. Add in whatever other additional wiggles you can to help loosen up that leg. And do the other side. We finish with these as well because we want our legs to be able to work and do a good job at whatever else they need to do for the rest of the day in your real life. And so take that extra second, take care of them, make sure they're ready. Don't start walking around and be like, oh, whoa, my leg is super tired today. What's going on? And start falling around the house. That would not be good. All right. Let's make sure we do the in and out knee thing. If you want to make this more dancey, we can do some stanky leg. If you want to do this instead, that works as well. You just need to do a couple of those. And I think that's done. Let's do our hip circles and our quick joint checks, and we will be all wrapped up. Hip circles. Since this is the last one, if there's anything that feels a little bit weird or something you want to stretch out, take the time, do it. Treat your body well. Give it some love. High knees. Pop into that squat. Ooh, that's good. My ankle is not feeling weird. Put some pressure in the knees. Put some pressure in the ankles. Put some pressure in those toes and feet. Do some calf raises. And once you have checked all of those joints, all of those little itty bitty muscles, we are done. And I am back at the camera to finally check some comments because I've been gone for a while. Lulu just came back. She rejoined. Junie says, good night, everyone. See you tomorrow. I hope you had fun. Enjoy. See you tomorrow. The floor is way too slippery for that pose. It must be the side splits you're talking about because it's pretty close to the end of the chat. Yeah, it can be really hard. When I first got to this place, I was complaining that the floor is super slippery and I was struggling really hard. But as time has passed, as you know, I've come into the home with my dirty sneakers over and over again, and my sweaty, gross feet have smeared their sweaty, gross feet stuff all over the floor over and over again. My floor has gotten to be a little bit less slippery, and I appreciate that. If you are struggling with the slipperiness of your floor, there's a couple of things you can do. If you are wearing socks, you can get rid of those. If you have a tiny bit of moisture, like if you, I always say this, like if you just wiped it with a little bit of water and let it dry for a couple of minutes so that it's basically totally dry, you might feel like it'd be more slippery, but I think a little bit of moisture actually makes it a little bit more stuck. It might make more sense just to wash your feet and then like 99% dry them so they're just a little bit more floppiness on the skin. I don't even know what I'm saying. So if what I'm saying sounds like it's complete nonsense and crazy, just ignore everything. But I think when your feet are like slightly sweaty, they stick better to things. Like a little bit of moisture goes a long way to like gripping things. And I don't exactly know how that works. Maybe the solution isn't water, maybe the solution is sweat. So hopefully that helps. Okay, moving on. Ganowski says, thank you for today. Travel Thrice says, thank you for today. Lovely, lovely. Focus Queen says, love it. Let's go. Okay. That's it for today. Thank you so much for coming in and practicing flexibility and mobility with me. I hope you had fun. I hope you feel proud that you got a whole bunch of stretching done. I know it's tough. It takes a lot of work. And hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully the good vibes that I try to bring to the community, engaging the chat, makes it so that you feel like it wasn't that bad, that much suffering. And you feel like you can do this tomorrow. Because we do this live every single day to practice consistency, to build up this community of lovely people who are joking around, asking questions in the chat, and hanging out, wishing each other well, welcoming each other. And that's a beautiful thing. It keeps you a little bit more excited to come into the lives, to know there's other people here. At least, I'll speak for myself. I enjoy it. And yeah, hopefully together, that means a whole bunch of us, lots of people, will make a bunch of progress towards your side split goals, your hip mobility goals together. I'm going to double check over here on YouTube. Eduardo is back with lovely compliments. And I hope you are well, Eduardo. Let's see. John Gonzalez is also back. The YouTube community is starting to grow and become more stable. I'm loving it. It was not nearly this friendly in the past. I used to get a lot of like weird messages from anonymous people on the internet, and that was not fun. But it looks like it's very lovely right now, and I appreciate you guys. Okay, I'm gonna scroll a little bit more all the way back to see if there's anything else I missed. But I think we are all done for today, for like the most part. If you got any last thoughts, questions, compliments, I will accept them. I think I am not seeing anything, but I am scrolling very fast. Ganowski is doing intermittent fasting. And she's complaining that I don't know how to count, which are all really true things. Junie is in her PJs by 9, and that is why stretching is happening in the bed. That makes sense. I get you. The longest 30 seconds ever. Yeah, yeah. I talk a lot. I know. I'm sorry. I'm gonna work on that. I'm gonna try and get like a real timer or something that maybe you can't see, but only I can see, and then I'll just randomly count numbers out and fill the time with talking. Okay, that's it. When do I know hip replacement is needed? Oh man, okay, that is a serious question. And that is a question I am never going to be able to do justice or answer well. Um, and I think from what I've heard from people who have gotten hip replacements, it seems like it's one of those really scary questions that when you ask a surgeon, they're going to tell you about the surgeon way to do it. When you ask like a holistic health person, they're going to tell you about the holistic health way of doing it. And you're going to get all sorts of information from all over the place, and it's just going to feel super confusing. And you're going to want and be hopeful of certain things, or you're not going to trust one person or the other, and it's just going to be super stressful. Um, Long answer short, it's already a long answer, is I have absolutely no idea. But I have heard that you do a really good job of strengthening the muscles in your hips, in your legs, and very focused effort, you might realize that your hip is capable and you just needed some extra balancing out from the muscles in your body. If you have very strong hips, and you should, Google YouTube videos from like physical therapists doing internal hip rotation, external hip rotation, all sorts of hip flexion, hip extension to actually assess whether or not your hips are strong. Then, and your hips are actually doing not great and you're considering a replacement, then maybe that is something you should consider. If your hips are super weak and you have like no control on your hips and your hips are hurting and you're wondering if you want to do a hip replacement, I would probably look to the least intense option first. Right? Obviously, if your hips are feeling like they're going to explode every single day and you're feeling miserable, you might think that surgery is the immediate next option. Recovery from surgery also hurts and is also going to suffer for a long time, right? And you're going to have to rehab all the muscles and you're going to have to train. So training is going to happen sooner or later. So I think, in general, that you should try your best to strengthen the muscles in your hips first to see if that relieves some of the symptoms. You might be surprised. Maybe a week or two of really thoughtful hip exercises will strengthen it just enough that you'll see, oh, wait, this is actually a huge difference from last week. The first time you start training, it tends to be the case that you get a lot stronger and a lot mobiler relative to your starting point pretty fast. And that might be enough to give you the right signal to decide if you want to do more exercise based treatment for your hip symptoms, or if you want to go consider and do hip replacement surgery. I hope that helps. It's my general philosophy on things. I obviously have not gotten a hip replacement, so I'm just talking. But I've talked to a bunch of people who have had some surgeries and replacements or back things, and a lot of the time, I feel like they were experiencing a lot of pain, so they rushed to the surgical solution. And with the surgery, a lot of other things that they weren't expecting were sort of introduced into their lives, and other things happen. So now that we've gone down this very serious note, I'm gonna bring the energy back to slightly upbeat and happy. Focus Queen says, I rehab through exercise. Okay, that's awesome. I'm trying to combine everything that I just randomly said without reading this next message back and seeing if there's anything else I have to offer. I don't think I have anything else to say. Cool. With that, oh, wow, there's still like 13 people up on TikTok and 7 on YouTube. Thank you for still being here. We just wrapped up at this point like an hour of live side split stretching. We do this every day to practice consistency. We do this every day to build a little bit of community because I'm here every day and our regulars keep on joining every day so that we can stretch together. If that sounds fun, if that sounds exciting, if that sounds like something you would aspire to do because you know consistency is so freaking hard, then come join us. We do this every single day, starting about an hour ago and an hour and 12 minutes ago from this exact moment if you're watching this live. And yeah, our whole goal is to keep good vibes, make it fun, give you a place to hang out where you can do the stretches together and make a bunch of progress because you're practicing consistently. Cool? That's it for me today. I hope to see you tomorrow, and I hope to see you for the whole rest of the week, too. All right. I'm ready to call it goodbye. Over here on YouTube, we have Dina Wannabe. I'm not even sure what's going on. I must be too old for this slang. Thank you for being here, everybody. Thank you for stretching together. And I hope you feel like your hips are feeling stronger, your hips are feeling looser. I hope you feel good, good enough to come back tomorrow and do some more. All right, I'll see you tonight, or I'll see you tomorrow. I don't even know. What am I saying? I'll see you tomorrow. And I hope to see you soon. Ah, struggling to shut down the live. Queen RR says, "Thank you for today. I hope that your girlfriend stretches daily like you. I wish that she did. I wish that she did."